Welcome back to Character Select. We are heading through the Swampity Swamp to get to the Swampity Swamp Palace.
It's like the Swamps of Sadness from Neverending Story. I love that movie. The first one, the second one was terrible.
The second one, I feel like the second one wasn't as terrible, but it's been years since I've seen it.
It wasn't as terrible as a lot of people think it is, but it was still a pretty bad movie. Especially compared to the book on which it was written. If you have never actually read the Neverending Story.
Oh shit, I wasted that. I've never actually read the book, no.
It is a very good book.
I mean, I have things to do. I don't have time to read a story that never ends. I'm sorry. I had to make that joke.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I want to stab you.
So does this skeleton, but I just killed him, so we're good. Oh no, it's flying heads.
No, it's the Medusa heads from Castlevania, except they're unicorn dragons.
And these guys steal my XP like assholes.
See, like the flaming skull dudes, they usually steal magic from you in other Zelda games.
Yeah. This is where it started. This is the first game that had magic.
Yeah.
And this is the first game where they were introduced as stealing your magic, and I walked into that because I'm an idiot. Fuck. I hate this palace.
The palace hates you, young man.
Yeah, well... Oh god, it's the Cobras. Forgot about those assholes. Oh man, now you got me thinking about fucking 80s movies.
Speaking of 80s movies, how about that Super Mario movie?
I thought that thing was the shit when I was a kid.
So did I.
Because you know what?
Because it was made for kids.
They took my favorite game. Not really. My favorite game was always Final Fantasy. They took one of my favorite games and they turned it into a movie. How could you not like that? And then it was terrible. It didn't have anything to do with the games at all.
It did, and it didn't at the same time. Like, anything relating to the games was, like, really weirdly warped, and Christopher Walken was King Koopa.
Which, honestly, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Christopher Walken in anything is worth the price of admission. He fucking made a Sleepy Hollow when I went to see that.
That's true.
When he fucking, like, ripped that chick's neck out.
Oh, it's been too long since I've seen Sleepy Hollow, but I do remember that scene. It was awesome.
And then you have to cringe and think about how much it would have hurt to file those teeth down into those points.
Yeah, I don't think that's really what they're worried about. If you're filing your teeth down to points, the last thing on your mind is, this is going to hurt a lot. Your mindset is more, oh man, this is going to be fucking awesome once I finish this. I died. Shit. We're going to fast forward back to the palace because I have to go through a lot of shit again.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we're back. To the song that never ends.
It goes on and on, my friends.
That's how you're supposed to use those red potions at the beginning of the castle.
Now, I wonder how many people actually know that song and from where it originates.
Lamb Chop Sing-Along. Lamb Chop Play-Along, sorry.
I know, but I'm just wondering how many people that actually know that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean...
Because, I mean, I feel the, what is it? The viewership of that show... Or the people who actually were kids and watched that show, it's sort of, like, gone by the wayside.
I feel like that's probably true of a lot of shows from the 80s.
Yeah, that is true.
Where a lot of the people that watch them are... Bye.
Like the old Super Mario cartoon.
Swing your arms from side to side. Do the Mario! Who the hell was that actor? I can't remember.
He was a professional wrestler.
Yeah, I know. His name was like Lou something? No,
That's the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Lou Ferrigno. Kind of a different person entirely. Who the fuck was it? Look it up. You got the internet at your fingertips.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
And they sometimes had the actual Super Mario cartoon on there.
Yeah, it's like they had the live action part at the beginning, and then they would jump into the cartoon. And you were right, it was a Lou.
What was his name?
Lou Albano.
Lou Albano! That's who he was!
Lou Albano.
Fucking Lou Albano. He was such a good sport for doing that show.
I mean, it wasn't a terrible show.
No, it was like your standard variety hour shit.
Yeah, so I mean,
after school variety hour stuff. I mean, everybody watched that.
I mean, it was one of the things I remembered from my childhood. It's like I don't remember the Legend of Zelda cartoons.
I do.
I don't remember those. I remember they were on that.
Princess.
I remember they were on that show.
Yeah.
But I don't remember seeing any of those.
Huh.
I remember seeing some of the episodes of the Mario cartoon, but not that one. Not the Zelda ones.
Fuck, it's a red knuckle. These guys are harder to kill.
Which I think was kind of an interesting thing, because they would, how do you give a silent protagonist a personality?
You make him into a typical 80s character.
So you mean like Cloud in, what's the movie he was in?
Advent Children?
Yeah, that one.
No, he was totally disrespectful and said things like, well, excuse me, princess.
I know that. I've seen that.
Actually, you know what show you just reminded me of?
What's that?
Captain N, the Game Master.
Oh my god. I have never actually watched that. But
really? It was like the fucking merchandising hour from hell.
See, I never actually watched a lot of TV.
Oh, man. Captain N was... Okay, so looking back on Captain N now, it was horrific. It was the worst show you could possibly imagine. It was such a blatant cash grab.
Yeah, no, obviously. And then, no, you remember how they used to make, like, a Nintendo cereal?
Yep. I hate it. It was not that great.
It was probably just a regular General Mills cereal with a different name on it.
Probably. Oh, for fuck's sake, you stupid skull bastards. Yeah, no, I mean, they were, like, Nintendo... Okay, so everybody knows that Nintendo was big back in the day, but I don't think they understand, like, in the 80s and the early 90s, Nintendo was big. They
yeah.
Everything.
Well, I mean, back in the late 80s, Sony wasn't even in games, really. I think they had, like, a Magnavox or whatever.
Sony actually got into games because of Nintendo.
Well, no, they made the PlayStation because of Nintendo. They had made a few consoles before.
Really?
I think. I'm pretty... Didn't they make the Magnavox?
No, Magnavox made the Magnavox.
I thought they made it in collaboration with Sony.
Nope. Relatively sure they did not.
Teamed with Sony, Philips used the Magnavox brand name to introduce CDA standard and equipment for consuming. Yeah, so I was right. They did pair with Sony to make the Magnavox.
Learn something new every episode.
Yeah. Trivia all around.
Random trivia.
Well, I looked that up, but I looked it up to confirm it. But
yeah,
I remember.
But you knew it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like Sony wasn't even in the game, Sega wasn't around.
Yeah.
You know, it was basically Atari, and Atari was like shit when Nintendo came onto the scene.
Well, Atari was shit because of the great video game collapse of '83.
Well, that was because of Atari.
Yeah.
Because the thing Nintendo did when they came on the scene is they had a policy for releasing games where you were not allowed to release a game with bugs in it. You had to have 0 bugs in your game, according to their guidelines or whatever they classified as a bug or something.
Well, their guidelines were that you couldn't publish a Nintendo game unless Nintendo said it was okay.
Yes,
and eventually there were lockout.
I was about to say that Nintendo had very stringent quality shut up. Stringent quality controls on their on the games they would release. So, I mean, you get like a lot fewer things like E.T.
E.T., the fucking epic fail of the video game era.
What's actually really interesting about the E.T. game is I read an article.
Wait, we're gonna have to wait until next time on Character Select to hear. Come back and you'll hear what's really awesome about E.T. Interesting. Nothing was awesome about it. Sorry, that was a bit of a slip of the tongue there.
I had a slip of the tongue, you had a slip of the tongue. It's tongue slip theater up in here.
Fuck you, Blot!